you see all these deer on social media. But I feel like on the farms that I hunt, the second and third week of November seem to be better than the first week of November, the pre-rut time frame. And there's this small window that I am always trying to capture on my farms. And that is when the does are ready to breed, or the bucks are ready to breed, but the does are not yet. And that window is like a 2-day window, I feel, maybe 3-day window. And that's where you catch yourself on a doe group. And that doe group comes through and there's a doe that's almost ready to breed. Like within the next 24 hours, she will be ready. And those are the time frames that I have always been successful in the woods. Not necessarily the peak of the rut, and not necessarily this late October time frame, but this 4th, 5th, 6th, up until maybe the 11th, depending on when you feel these doe groups come into heat. And like the first doe of a doe group comes into heat. And that's why in the past I've put so much emphasis on trying to put myself in a position where I have does within shooting range every single hunt. And if I do that, that tells me that I am in the right position. Because at some point, if I'm in that position, does are going to come in. They're doing what they're supposed to do. The bucks are going to soon be following them or in that same area, coming to scent check. And I truly do believe this, Jason. I need to make 3 adjustments on that. I call it the 4-hour farm because it's that far away from the house. That if I can move 1, 2, 3 tree stands on that farm, if I can move 3, maybe 4, now that I'm thinking about it, I will have a tree stand for every single wind direction on that farm, and I will be able to capture deer movement to a point where I'm going to be a dangerous hunter on that farm. Okay. And I'll be able to sneak in with great access and do some really cool things with these tree stand setups. And then also have a mobile setup available on this farm to where I'll really be able to, like, you know, how sometimes maybe a tree falls down and it alters deer movement for maybe just even 20 yards. I'll be able to move in on something like that. And I think along with the knee and lack of preparedness from last year, going in and changing a couple things, I'm going to have some really good encounters in 2026. That's the goal anyway.
And I think, to that point, that's why I'm saying, like, I slow it down a little bit and take a little bit more time. This year I felt I did good on one property in particular where I was prepared for it. I was ready for run and gun. I was ready for, here's you got time, but you can sit in a low pressure stand. But then there's a couple properties that I didn't spend a lot of time on, and the results yielded that. The biggest property I hunted a couple times in October, and I didn't stick the time into my early season scouting. I didn't stick the time into my tree stands and prep work and everything on that property. And lo and behold, there wasn't a whole lot of intel because I didn't have a whole lot of cameras there. And I didn't, and that's my big piece, so you'd think that your big piece would offer the most amount, in the whole season, but it's not necessarily how it goes either, I guess. But I think that's where I just need to slow down and maybe take a little bit more time with each one. And then they'll show a little bit more in the end with it.
Yeah, absolutely.